Here we go. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. You are live with Rhonda on Rhonda's Room, on site with Rhonda. And tonight is Valentine's Day. Gotta have Luther on Valentine's Day. But I have an incredible guest tonight that I'm so excited that he is here. Mr. Jairrod A. Burch. He is the CEO and founder of Value on Purpose. And I have been trying to get this brother for a minute on the show. And suffice it to say, we finally made it work. So I just want to take a second and welcome you, Jairrod, to the show. And tell everybody just a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where do you live and all that stuff?
Well, my name is Jairrod A. Burch. I'm the CEO and founder of my company, Value on Purpose with Jairrod A. Burch. I am an expert value empowerment speaker, author, influencer, and value life coach. And what I do is I make sure I help people who can only look at themselves. I help assist them to be able to see themselves after we have a connection.
Okay. Very nice. And where do you live right now?
I reside in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay. Very good. Now, tell them how we met. You want to tell them? You want me to tell? I want to hear your version. How did we meet?
If my memory is correct, we met online, correct?
Yeah.
I don't remember the specific circumstances.
Okay. You had popped up on a friend of mine who I respect very much on his time page, Dr. Robert Watkins.
Okay.
And I had reached out to you because I had started watching some of your videos and I had requested you as a friend, and then we started talking from there. And I'll tell you what, I mean, so many things have changed for the better for me ever since I've met you and you've come into my life. And I'm just grateful that, our paths crossed and we connected. Now, everybody that's listening on Facebook, go ahead and share this and tune in. And you know how this works, guys. You guys can comment, you can write questions down and all that other stuff. Now, I know it's Valentine's Day and we may or we may not have a large audience, but those of you that are at home by yourself without a boo, you're not all booed up, okay? Hey, this is the best place for you to be tonight because we're actually going to be talking about what do you really expect from love? And what better topic on Valentine's Day? So what I want to start off with is one of the videos, the first thing you sent me was you are an influencer. And I spoke straight to my heart because it was exactly what I needed to hear at that time. So how long have you been speaking and motivating and stuff like that? When did that start for you?
I've been speaking since I started at 15, the age of 15,
okay.
Which is ironically enough, I started my company, Value on Purpose with Jairrod A. Burch in 2015. So I've been speaking for 24 years.
Really? Wow. Okay. I wouldn't have thought, I didn't realize it was that long. Okay. That's awesome. So what made you create Value on Purpose? Where did that come from?
It came from personal experience. Number one, that's usually where your purpose is going to come from, your personal experience. And I was in a place to where I was gifted, but I was not feeling appreciated because of the things that I was seeing with the people who I was working with and interacting and serving and things like that. And so God had to start showing me, I want to show you what your true value is and that it has a purpose, but it has nothing to do with you being able to produce something, because that's how we feel. That's how society has made it. You're only as valuable as long as you can produce something out of someone's life or for someone. It's the give and take. And if you can't give, then you're not valuable. But that's not value. That's supply and demand. Real value is how God designed you. So we came pre-packaged. You just have to be developed to find out about it.
Nice. Very good. Well, we've got people that are tuning in and sending up comments already. Christina is watching and she said, blessings to you. So that must be one of your followers. But guys, when you are tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. That's always fun and exciting to see where everybody is watching from and how many people that this is, touching. And go ahead and put your comments up there and your questions, because I'm telling you, we're going to get into a fantastic conversation. And it's not going to be your everyday conversation that everybody has on Valentine's Day about love. We're going to get into some really deep, really raw stuff today. And so if you ever had any questions about what does love mean, how do you know if you have it, all that kind of stuff, we're gonna cover all of that tonight, and we're probably gonna hit on some things you haven't even thought of, and we're gonna talk about some misconceptions too about what love is and everything today too. All right, so Ian is watching from Cayman Islands. Is it Kentucky? KY? No, Cayman Islands is a country. KY is Kentucky. I'm not sure where you're watching from, Ian, but thank you for tuning in.
It says Cayman Islands.
But it says KY, and that's Kentucky. So yeah, but Cayman Islands is an island. So anyway,
What's going on, Ian?
Thanks for tuning in. All right, so let's start the conversation with a video of yours. Okay, that way people can hear you and see you in the moment, and they can see and kind of get a feel of how you present. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share the screen real quick, and I'm going to play a video. And it's only like 3 minutes long, guys, but this is an incredible video. Hold on one second.
Plus, Rhonda, if we keep it 100, good and well, it's pandemic and it's cold outside, so
yeah,
I ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, right. All right, here we go. I got it queued up to where we can see it good. All right, this is one of your signature messages.
I had a friend who came up to me and said, Jairrod, I want you to try this authentic, real, raw chocolate bar from Europe. It's the real deal. I think you'll like it. I'm not really too crazy about chocolate, but I do love sweets. So I was like, okay, I trust you. I'll try it. So I grabbed the bar. I like the wrapping. I opened it up and I broke it. When I broke it, a red filling came out. So it looked like strawberry or cherry. I'm like, well, I do love strawberry. I do love cherry. This ought to be good. When I put it in my mouth, my first reaction was, it's the worst thing that I've ever tasted. And he looked at me and he was like, are you serious? I'm like, you hyped it up so much that, I thought it was going to be the real deal. I said, this is the worst thing I've ever tasted. It didn't dawn on me till later that the reason why I hated it so much, not because it wasn't good, it was because I built my taste buds up with the artificial and the thing that was fake. I had been tasting fake chocolate for so long that when the real thing came, I didn't know how to handle it. So I spit it out. How many people have come into your life? How many opportunities have come into your life that were the real thing? They valued you. They showed you that they appreciated you. They gave you authentic love, authentic care. And because you're so used to being around people who are fake with you, who are phony, who need you for opportunities or always need something from you, that because you're so used to being around the fake, that you treated the real deal like you should have been treating the phony. I thought about it, and I couldn't do anything but sit there and learn that lesson. Don't build your taste palette up. Don't build your heart up. Don't build your spirit up with something that is pseudo, that is fake so much that when you come in the presence of something that you talk about, you want so much, something and someone who will value you, appreciate you, treat you genuine, be transparent, and give you what you deserve and what you desire. But because you surround yourself with the thing that's fake and false the most, that you reject the authentic and you reject the real thing. Think about that. You already know who this is. CEO and founder of Value on Purpose, Mr. Value himself, the influencer, Jairrod A. Burch. I'm just here to let you know, to remember that the next time something or someone comes into your life and it seems too good to be true, maybe it is actually the real thing. I'll talk to you soon.
I love that. And guys, this is just an idea. This is just a glimpse of how he speaks when he speaks. Got lots of people tuning in as well. British West Indies. Okay, that's where Cayman Islands is. Okay. One thing that I love about you, Jairrod, is you're very intentional with what you say, and you keep your videos to a certain amount of time, but yet you say so much in that time. How did you come to be like that?
When I first started, I started in ministry, and starting in ministry, they made it a real big thing to train us that you don't always have to spend a lot of time to say something impactful. In fact, that was honed in on us. Like,
Okay.
when you get up, you speak, you be brief, you get to the point, and then you be seated. So, they taught us how to come basically in an analogy from Facebook to writing as much as you want to moving over to Twitter. Now you can only say so much, but it trains you to be able to be skillful, to be
Right.
effective, to be able to say what you need to say in the short amount of time, because once you learn that you're planting seeds anyway, you don't need a whole lot of time. You just need enough time.
Right. And that's so true, because a lot of times we waste a lot of time saying so many things that we don't mean, and what we wanted to say gets lost in the translation of it. There's a lot of wasted time and a lot of wasted words.
Right.
Now you speak a lot about relationships, and we're going to clarify ahead of time, because he clarified to me when we started that you're not a relationship expert, but I love what you call yourself. What do you call yourself? You're not a relationship expert. You are what?
I'm an expert value empowerment speaker.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm an expert at. Relationships, right. I'm going to share my experience, but today I'm not coming as a relationship expert. I'm talking today as a relationship analyst. So yeah. I'm just giving seeds. I'm just giving principles. Yeah. I'm gonna keep it 100. Yeah. But my biggest thing is I know how to stay in my lane.
Right. And I love that you say you're a relationship analyst, because you analyze what's going on and you're an observer, and you speak very clearly on the situation, and the way you bring it things about, it's like, dang, you got to stop and think about it, because you make people stop and think about what you say, because it's so impactful. So let's find out about you. So it's Valentine's Day. I am here by myself. You are there by yourself. So what's the background as far as as far as you? Are you married? Do you have kids? Stuff like that?
I'm single.
Okay.
I have a son. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
If you follow me, you know my son. I'm Jairrod A. Burch Sr. He is Jairrod A. Burch II. I'm Mr. Value. He's Kid Value.
I love that. I love that. And what I love about you is as well is you don't have a need to be in a relationship, so to say. You're not the typical man. You're not the typical brother. Okay. And I love how you value relationships. You're not going to get into them unless it's meaningful to you.
Right.
Now, how did that come about? What's the difference? Like, since we're talking about what do you really expect in love, what would you say are misconceptions that a lot of people in society have today when it comes to love or looking for love? What do you think is a misconception?
I think one of the misconceptions, one of the millions, one of the many, I think that we look at, like we look at social media, for instance. We'll see a picture of a couple and they're at a park and they're holding hands and they're eating ice cream. And we say, that is goals. What, eating ice cream? That's goals. Like, and we assume because we see that picture, or we assume because we see that couple, in that finished product of that cropped picture and filtered so pretty, that they have it all together. So then when we see that, we automatically assume love has no unedited places, or love is cropped, love is filtered. And most of us identify with love how we saw love, whether we saw it through our parents, whether we saw it through our grandparents, or whether we did not see it. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that love is this pretty picture, and we have to attain that pretty picture. And once we get that, then we've gotten love. But that's not love at all. Actually, love is dirty. Actually, love is dirty. So I'll leave that right there. Because the reason why, because I grew up, I'm a practicing Christian, so anything I do, God is tailored in the fabric of it. So when I say love is dirty, I mean, real love does not wait till you get clean to look at you or treat you with value. Real love, which is my experience, is seeing how God loved me and my family. Real love will get into the dirt with you, because it sees you and sees the potential and then pulls you out.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And, if we could ever get past the exterior, a lot of times, and I'm just speaking from a woman's perspective, okay, I see so many women that they have all these check marks that these men got to meet. Well, he's got to make a certain amount of money. He's got to have a certain credit score, got to drive a certain car. He's got to be dressed a certain way. He's got to pay for a certain amount of meals, and all of that stuff. And I'm like, wow, really? You got all those checks, and I get standards and all of that. But by the time you have all these checklists and after 90 days, we're going to be here. And after 6 months, we're going to be here. And I'm going to be married by a year from now. And I want a kid in 2.5 years. It's like, a lot of times women will plan things out so much to where it's like the man doesn't even know what's hit him. And then when that's not what he wants, she gets all upset thinking there's no good men. And it's not that there's no good men. It's just, you don't recognize you had a good man all the time. It's just, once you strip away all these musts and stuff, you'll get to the heart of who the man really is. And he might be without a job right now. He might be in the dirt, like you said. He might be struggling. He might be hurt with something right now. And you can't write them off just because of a situation that they're in right now.
Rhonda, one of the things that we talked about before is, which you've led right into, is because we're talking about today, what do you really expect from love? And it's okay to expect things, but if we be honest, it's not okay to expect unrealistic things. And one of the things that is unrealistic is the reason why first dates or meeting people is a lot difficult now, and things of that nature, is because we're not necessarily trying to get to know a person nowadays. We are signing up for an interrogation. We are signing up for an interview. So you got a guy coming, or you have a woman coming for the first time, and they want to meet you. They want to talk to you, and you want to grill them from the time they sit down,
Yeah.
from the time that you're grilling them. You know, you don't know what they go through on a normal basis. And when they sit down, they came to meet you, have a good time, but you're asking about the credit report. You're asking what was your last 8 relationships like. You're asking all these things, and there is a big difference between you wanting to get to know me and you wanting to know things about me.
Yeah,
and that's what we're doing. We're sending off the signal, and by the time that person says, "Hey, do you mind if I go to the restroom real quick?" and by the time they go to the restroom and then they leave, we're wondering like, what happened? What do you mean? What happened? You put them on the first 48 hours,
right?
And all they wanted to do was just to get to know you, because the problem is a lot of times we don't want to admit that we're hemorrhaging and bleeding from the last relationship that we did not heal from. Right. And when we come to a new relationship, we're expecting that person to do surgery where we've patched it up with Band-Aids.
Right. And that's so key that you say that, because if you are not totally healed from your past relationship, you're going to make that person pay for everything the other person did to you. And you're going to be bleeding all over them, and you're not going to treat them the way that they should be treated. You're not even present. You're not fully present in that particular relationship. You're still somewhere back here, and that's not fair. So what would you suggest from a man's perspective? Okay, let's say it's a first date. What is a man, what would you say would be an ideal first date, or what is a good man? I'm gonna preface it by that. Not everybody just want to hit it and all that stuff. A man that's looking for something. What are they looking for when you say they just want to get to know you?
We're looking to get to know somebody who is genuine, right? I'm talking about stuff that we can sense right away, not the long-term stuff, but the things that we can sense right away. Number one, we want somebody who has a sense of humor. That we don't want to sit there and feel like we're being grilled or interrogated or investigated, because we both can't have our guards up and get to know each other. Right. You got to open that window, and I got to open my screen door, just like COVID. Just keep your mask on, we'll be all right. Sense of humor, somebody who is down to earth. And then somebody who, we don't need you to know everything, but have a general sense and a general knowledge of different things, whether it's religion, politics, whether you want to talk about careers, whether you want to talk about school, business. That's a goal-oriented guy. Yeah. That's what he's looking for in the beginning. You know what I mean? We're not looking, too many times we want to get to the first date. Yeah. And we have a level 1 clearance, but we're expecting to get level 8 clearance information. It don't work like that. Right. If you got hired at the White House today, they wouldn't give you a high level clearance on your first day. You got to work your way up. Yeah. So, just things that are practical. I know, at least for me, those things are important. Just simple, but those things are important. Yeah. Yeah. And on from the woman's perspective, okay, I know we're looking to see, is this guy going to be respectful to us? Are they going to be on their phone the whole time? There's nothing worse than when you're trying to go out on a date and they're constantly in their phone. Wait, hold on. See, you better put that damn phone down. But that's like the rudest thing, or they're answering text messages and you're like, God, are they like texting some chick, while they're sitting here with me or what? And just somebody that is not looking at you like a piece of meat all the time. Now, I get it. You got your hookups and stuff like that. I done had my share and hey, it is what it is sometimes. Sometimes you just hook up with somebody and the physical is all there is and that's it. And it's boom, bam. And that you never expected nothing from it. But when you're trying to get to know somebody, you want to see that, is he going to speak to you like a lady, or is he going to treat you like you're one of the boys? And is he going to
act like he's interested, or is he going to be distracted a lot of times? Is he checking out other people while you're with them? And, is he actually paying attention to what you're saying? That's a big deal, because a lot of times they just got this blank stare on their face where it looks like they're listening, but you can tell there's that disconnect. They're really not even there. They're just thinking about something else or something. Because as women, we want to feel significant. We want to know that, that I have your attention, and, that you can focus right here, not, over there or over there and stuff like that. And a lot of guys miss that right away in the very beginning. They don't know how to talk to you. They really don't. They'll talk to you like you're one of the boys. And, you want to be treated like a lady. You want to be talked to, softly. You want to be talked to nicely. I mean, you got your room for all the other stuff later, but, when you're first getting to know each other, you want to be treated like a lady. You want to see how he's going to respond to you.
I think a lot of that has to do with even because you don't just show up on the date unless you plan to do a blind date. But
Right.
most people who show up on a date, you want to start first, talking to that person on the phone, because what you're doing is you're setting a realistic expectation. Realistic. The problem is we set each other up and sabotage ourselves and the other person with unrealistic expectations. So set those standards, those guidelines, all of that stuff while you're talking on the phone, all of that stuff. So by the time you do get to the date, you not only know a little bit of what to expect, but they know exactly some of the things that you're going to, like, and vice versa. So you're not getting there and there is this whole readjustment phase. It makes it a lot smoother.
Right. I agree with that totally. All right. So let's bring up the topic of today is Valentine's Day. And there's so many people that feel so badly if they don't have somebody to spend Valentine's Day with, or they feel like they're missing something. And I've seen lots of ladies, when we were in the office, send themselves flowers because they wanted to make it seem like somebody was sending them flowers, instead of just saying like, hey, I bought I bought myself flowers. Here they are. And I bought them for me. And there's nothing wrong with buying them for you. What would you say to the people that, and this is men and women too, what is, I already know what I'm going to get from you. What does Valentine's Day mean to you?
If you would typically ask me, I'm just going to, typically I'm just going to say, like, to me, I don't like the marketing aspect of it, because when I talked to you before and we were establishing what I thought and what I saw as real love, when I look at Valentine's Day, that's not what I see as love.
No.
So I think a lot of people, back to unrealistic expectations, we sabotage ourselves because we look on social media or we look at other people and we feel like, man, I'm just behind because I don't have another person, or I don't have someone, I'm not in a relationship. And I'm gonna just be real. I mean, everybody wants somebody to share their time with. That companionship. They want, somebody to spend time with, to share affection with. I get that. However, I said, and I posted this not too long ago, and I say this and I stick by it. I used to think that the qualification for me to get into a relationship was that I was single, because me being single made me eligible, until I learned and I developed and matured and found out it wasn't being single that made me eligible, or that should have been my criteria. My criteria should have been me being single and being better.
Yes.
Because that's my criteria. Because like we said before, how many people have left a relationship, had no closure, didn't close the door, still bleeding, still hemorrhaging, and then somebody else comes along. Now you're bleeding on them, and before they even they can't get to know you because you're hemorrhaging. So you're in defensive mode.
Yeah.
So this Valentine's Day, next Valentine's Day, it's whatever. My thing is my personal goal. My goal was
Mhm.
I don't want to just be with somebody just because I can.
Right.
I want to be single and eligible, meaning I'm actually bettering myself. That's
Yeah.
not something I'm just saying right now. That's something I'm doing. I'm
Right.
bettering myself so that when someone does come along, they're getting a better version. Even if it doesn't work out, they're still getting a better version of Jairrod.
Yeah, and I'm actually doing the exact same thing right now is and I used to be that type where I would really have a hard time with being by myself. I really did. And I'm just going to be transparent. It's because, growing up, what you're brought up with is what you consider normal.
Right.
And where I was brought up, I saw, well, my mother raised us a certain way, and it's not a good thing to say, and it's nothing negative about my mom. It's just where she was. She raised us never trust a man. Always have somebody on the side. Don't let your right hand know what the left is doing and stuff. And that's how she raised us. And that's
Yeah.
the example that I saw. And so for me, being exclusive with one person, I was like, that was a foreign idea. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized this is not, hey, what I was showed was not correct. And, it made me feel like if I wasn't with somebody, that meant I was less of a woman, or that I was not desirable, or I was not worthy, or whatever. And I struggled for a long time with just even being by myself. And that's something you got to get used to, is how do you be by yourself and be okay with it? And, and if you're used to just always jumping from one relationship to another, you're never allowing yourself to heal. You don't even know who you are. And it's
Right.
like, you can't stand to be alone with yourself. You don't like to spend time with you. How in the world is anybody else going to want to spend time with you? It's like you're putting too much pressure on the other person, so you got to be happy first by yourself, and then you can bring that happiness to the relationship, instead of looking for, I'm not looking to you, Jairrod, to fill me up. You know what I mean? Rhonda's happy, you're happy, and if we come together, then we make a good thing. But if you're looking for me to fill up what your ex did to you, I can't do it.
Right.
And vice versa. If I'm holding you responsible for what my ex did, you're going to get treated badly, and it's no fault of your own, and it's not fair. So I understand what you're talking about being single, because I'm actually in the process of that myself. And I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. It's tough if you're not used to it. It's tough,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
And I would love to give the answer, oh yeah, I'm good, and Jesus is my husband, blah 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 blah. That is not, I enjoy a man, okay? I enjoy the company of a man. I enjoy the companionship. Some days I'm all right, other days I'm not good, but I'm working on all of that. And just like you said, so there's a better version of Rhonda.
Right.
And
And that goes along with just setting that expectation. It's
mhm,
it's realistic. It's
yeah,
simplistic. Of just saying I would rather. And like you said, it's not the easiest thing in the world, especially because when we feel out of control, when you feel out of control, if it's snowing here in the Midwest.
yeah,
So if I walk outside to my car and I slip on some ice, it is my nature,
mhm,
because I instantly lose control. It's my nature to try to grab a hold of something to
right,
gain that control. And that's
right.
what we do when we're falling. It's our
Mm.
nature, because we don't know what the fall is going to bring. We immediately
Oh, that's
grab to
good.
something else. Even if we know the thing we're grabbing on will not hold or sustain us, we'll still
Right,
grab for it, because
right,
it's that unknown. It's that
right,
fear of, man, I don't want to be by myself. Or, man, does anybody, can I be with someone? Am I attractive? Does
right.
someone still want all of those unknowns? And it is uncomfortable.
Mhm.
People have a certain persona when they look at me and they think a certain thing. Or, I mean, don't just think that, number one, my phone is just constantly ringing, and then my inbox is just
Mhm.
constantly full with invites and hey big heads and well, I mean, I get my fair share, but loneliness
Yeah.
is bigger than singleness.
Yeah. That's
And we
that's
attach
huge.
we
Yeah.
attach
Mhm.
being single with
Yeah.
being lonely. And
Yeah.
those are two different things.
Yeah.
So my own thing, my own experience, my personal development was, Jairrod, I I have got to get to this place where I don't get something because I can, but
Mhm.
I get something because I'm ready for it.
Yes.
Or I get something, or I get into, if I get into a relationship or a deeper relationship, because don't nobody know my business,
Right.
if I choose to go deeper
Mhm.
or have any type of relationship, it will be because I know my limitations.
Yeah.
I know my pluses. I know my minuses. Um, and to be honest, would you date you?
Right.
Would
Right.
you want to? I mean, honestly, think about it. Would you
Yeah.
want to be with somebody
Just like you.
identical just to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about just the good parts, but the
Mhm.
bad parts.
Right.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome. April's got a comment up here. She says, I have to learn to be okay by myself. Not to say that I wouldn't enjoy developing a relationship, but I wouldn't force anything. And that's a process. And it is. And like I said, and I'm in that process now. I mean, I've been in this position many times before. I've been married twice, divorced twice, dating here and there and stuff like that. And each time you get a broader view of what you want. Each time you get a broader appreciation of who you are. And the more time you can spend with yourself. Like today, I did a little video right before this, cooking, myself something for Valentine's Day, buying myself some flowers. And I'm actually okay with that. Where before, few years ago, Rhonda never would have done that because she would have been too afraid of what other people thought,
right,
that she looked desperate, and I'm not desperate. I'm really enjoying who I am. I'm enjoying who I'm becoming, and I'm enjoying finding out, oh wow, I like this, or I don't like that. And hey, I have a new adventure today. What can I, do today? And I'm liking that. Now, yeah, the loneliness, that was really key what you said, because there are times it gets lonely. It gets lonely, and it's hard to not hit that book, hit those contacts up, because you got those old faithfuls that you can call, and everybody's got them. And but then that even gets to be less and less because you don't have that need of that constant validation.
right.
And that's a sign of growing.
April said something that was really important, and she said not to force it.
Yeah.
Um, I dare not sit here and say, like I told you before, my disclaimer, I am not a relationship expert, but I
Mhm.
will share what, I feel, what I've seen, what I've experienced. And there's a time where we all, not just we all, but there's a time where Jairrod
Mhm.
tries to force it.
Yeah.
And I think those are the times where I had to pay attention to, like I said before, because it is in our nature. When
Mhm.
we feel like we're losing control,
Yeah.
we'll do anything to get control.
Yep.
And a lot of times, to be honest, if you look down through the relationships of the people that you've been with, you can identify, I wasn't myself this time. Like that,
Mhm.
I don't even know what that was.
Right. Yeah.
And because it's not always the other person.
Mhm.
Sometimes, and a lot of other times, it's you,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
don't want to admit it's you. You
Right.
don't want to work on you.
Right.
But it's worth the upgrade. I'll say that,
Mm.
because when you stay at a certain level,
Mhm.
I wrote this in a book. entitled The Daughter of a King, and I start talking about the difference between men. There are hunters and then there are predators. When you are giving off, when you're at a certain stage as a woman, we as men, we can sense that stage. We can pick up if you're feeling desperate. You don't think we can, but it comes out in different ways. It comes out in how you dress. It comes out in how you talk. It comes out in how you say no, but your body says yes.
Yeah.
It comes out in many different ways. So the reason why we can't stay at certain those levels that we know we should have graduated from is because we give off signals. And when we give off signals, we call it mixed signals, but it's not mixed. It's that you were on this stage, you're giving these signals off, and what you give off, you will attract.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit about, now you do speaking all over the place. You speak for youth, you have business coaching, you have clients that you work with one-on-one, you consult. Let's talk about that a little bit, about those relationships that you're building there and what you're doing. Like, what's on the scene for you right now? What's going on in Jairrod's world?
As far as value on purpose, I speak specifically on building and understanding and knowing your value and your purpose. And that's whether it's sports organizations, whether that is business, whether that for companies, corporations, whatever. I'm able to help. I'm gifted. I'm skilled at helping people who can only look at themselves to be able to see themselves, because that's a huge part of what we're talking about now. Because a lot of people, when you are at a stage where you are constantly giving yourself and others unrealistic expectations, is because you're at a stage where you can only look at yourself.
Yeah.
And when you know that you're stuck or you're falling and you're out of control, you need somebody who can tell you, number one, I know exactly what you're going through, but I don't just know, but I can help you get out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm offering you vision when you only have sight.
Yeah. And that's so key. And I'll say this, I'll let everybody know that's watching. I mean, you've done that for me time and time and time again. And I remember one of the first conversations you and I had, and you said that you were a seer. I'm like, what do you mean a seer? And you had broke it down to me that way because you told me that you could see things in me that I couldn't see. And the coaching that you gave me, and all the things, the exercises that we did together, you really put things into a perspective to where you allowed me to see things that I didn't see, where I can help everybody else. But when it comes to Rhonda, it's harder to see myself. And like my sister will say this all the time. She's like, Rhonda, if you could see yourself through my eyes, and a lot of times we don't see ourselves. We look at ourselves, just like you're saying. And I can definitely attest to the fact that you've helped me see the value of who I am and what my gift is, and that my gift is so much bigger than I even imagine, and it takes somebody who can see that, who can see where you're going. And you are very gifted. And I remember when we first started talking before, because you're younger than me, I was like, all right, you're younger, but yet you're wise, and you have an older, how they say an older soul or whatever, to where I know that I've learned not to judge people by their age, because the value of what you have, that gift is what it is. And you truly do help people see their own value. And you speak into people. You don't speak to people, you speak into them. Big difference.
Right. I see a comment that just popped up. Is that Vincent?
It's Vincent. Hey, Vincent, this is my friend Jairrod. He's spoken truth. Men can sense the need of a woman. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Vincent and I go way back, like church, like he knows my boys and stuff, like got to be 25 years plus or something like that. And So yeah, men can sense the needs of a woman. Now, what would you say about the men that, because I love, you were beginning to speak about hunters and predators. What's the difference between a predator and a hunter?
The difference between a predator and a hunter, or the most important thing is to know how to differentiate them, is a predator is someone who does something for sport. So if it kills something, it wasn't out of protection or defense. It was out of sport. I just wanted to do it. If it does anything, or if it comes into your life, it's not coming for substance. It's not coming to invest. It's only interested, which means that everywhere that the predator goes and leaves, it leaves a trail of destruction. It leaves a trail of no clarity, no confusion. As to a hunter, if it kills to survive, sustain life. It protects. A hunter protects. A hunter builds. But the problem is that the hunter and the predator, they look alike. So you need to be able to differentiate. This is why it's so important that when I was talking about being better and not just being single, when you're better, you're able to make more discerning and wise decisions on men, as opposed to just making decisions based on your emotion. Because remember, I said we look alike. So a predator knows he looks just like the hunter. The predator might even knows he smells like the hunter. He can talk a good game. But a lot of times you won't know unless you really pay attention to the red flags that you're getting in your gut. You're in your spirit, because God placed something in all of us. And that something it's a radar. And anytime that you've gone off the range, or you feel that something ain't right. The problem is, I say with a lot of women, not all, but with a lot, is that when you get red flags, because you want to give the benefit of the doubt, you'll turn that red flag. Maybe it's a little orange. That's a little orange. You know what that does? Like that, it looks a little pink, and you ignore it, and next thing you know, you've got 16 red flags, and now you on Facebook posting, "Ain't no good men out there. All y'all dogs. Y'all only want one thing." Wait. If you would have paid attention to the last 15 red flags that said, first of all, you are not in a good place to actually be with someone, because you're hemorrhaging. And you will know the difference between a predator and a hunter by how they treat you when you're bleeding. Because when you're bleeding, a hunter will come to give aid. We come to sustain life. We come to protect. But when a predator smells it, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunist. That's an opportunity. And then I'm going in for the kill. Because remember, I don't look at you as an investment. I see just an interest, which means I don't have any stake in the game. And after I cause confusion and chaos, I'm going to leave anyway.
That's wow. That's so powerful. And that's everybody is saying here. I've been putting comments up. I don't know if you saw them. Vincent said exactly on point. April's like, speak. Ian is like, nourish. And you're right. And a lot of times it is hard to tell the difference, because, especially if you are wanting to believe the best in somebody. Okay. And I can only speak from a woman's point of view. If you're wanting to believe the best in a man, and you're wanting to see past certain things, and, you may have a red flag, but you're hoping that they're going to be there. What's the danger in falling in love with potential, or what they used to do, versus what they're doing right now? Like, how can you tell if the man is just having a hard time right now and he needs you to sustain him, or he's actually really just, like you said, you're just sport? How do you really tell the difference?
Because when you really pay attention, I don't care how smooth a dude is, a guy is, or a woman is,
Mm-hmm.
you will always speak what's in your heart.
Mm.
Pay attention, and you don't always have to say anything. Pay attention to conversation.
Okay.
Pay attention to where it goes consistently.
Mm.
Take a conversation somewhere, see where it goes consistently. And that tells you, because what's in my heart, what's in my mind is going to come out of my mouth.
Right.
And pay attention to not just my actions. A good brother, good friend of mine, speaker, Keith Taylor, he told me, he said, bro, you don't always have to pay attention to someone's actions necessarily, because they can fool you with actions.
Yeah.
But if you pay attention to their patterns,
Yeah.
that will let you know, because consistency, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you'll always be able to feel, there's always a gut feeling before you need to say something first. And pay attention to that. A lot of times you get it, and because it's not a loud, thunderous voice, you don't think that it's important. But it's that, you know what? Did you hear what he just said? Or
Yep.
that, you know what? You see what he just did? So a lot of times you're not trusting your own gut.
Yeah.
You're not trusting your own voice.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to become better, because you need to know the difference between your voice when
Mhm.
it's secure and your voice when it's speaking out of insecurity and
Right.
just emotion.
Right. That's so true. Yeah, and again, yeah, more comments are coming up. Yeah, Vincent is saying, you know, a person at the end of a relationship, you do. He learns people in childhood, you know. With what you are, wow, I'm just looking at the time. Oh my gosh, it's already almost time to
I
go.
know.
Jesus.
When you're dropping
Just looked
dimes,
at the time. Oh my God.
when you're dropping dimes, you know, it just happens like that.
Yes, you do. It's amazing. Okay, so our topic is what do you really expect from love? So first of all, it's important, I would say, to figure out what is it that you expect, and then how do you communicate that to somebody? You know, that it's not a drilling type thing, like you said, like, you know, hey, this. Like, what's important? Okay, from your perspective, what do you expect from love? Like, what does that mean to you?
When I say, what do you expect from love? What does Jairrod expect from love?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm talking in the sense of, I'm looking at a woman who I have adoration for,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm interested in her. She's the object of my desire.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking for when I'm talking about love is simple things. Remember, back to the simple things. I'm looking for, number one, you can't tell me you love me and you don't respect me.
Right.
Love and respect they're hand in hand. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about respect as in just being able to be courteous,
Yeah.
just being able to be kind,
Mm-hmm.
caring,
Mm-hmm.
compassionate,
Yeah.
empathetic, sympathetic, things
Mm-hmm.
that don't cost anything, but
Right.
will cost you everything.
Right.
So when I'm talking about what do I expect from love, what do I expect is I expect understanding.
Mm.
I've come to learn in my life, it is more important to be understanding than it
Mm-hmm.
is to understand everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was the type where, because I'm very analytical,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always, well, why this, why that, how come, or maybe, sometimes but life, pain,
Mm-hmm.
failures, it showed me that, Jairrod, you are more effective and you're more warm
Yeah.
when you're understanding
Mm-hmm.
than you are judgmental. Because
Yeah.
when you're understanding, you instantly have compassion for people
Yes.
you don't know.
Yeah.
When you're
Absolutely.
understanding, you're not quick to be so, well, you know what, they deserve that. Well, you
Right.
know what, I wouldn't have done that. When you're
Right.
understanding, it's called shut mouth grace. You learn
Yeah.
to shut up. You
Yeah.
learn to be quiet. You learn to, you know what,
Yep.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've
And
done
it's so funny that you say that, because this one thing people tell me all the time. They're like, Rhonda, you're so nice. You shouldn't understand that much. But I've grown to the point to where I know from studying people and in just my own experience and whatnot, there's a lot of times there's something else going on that you're not aware of, you
Right.
know, but you never know what somebody's dealing with. And I would rather be, and this is just Rhonda, this is just my heart. I don't know how to hate. I don't know how to love just a little bit. If I love, I love with all I have. Now that's not in a, like, I'm going to grab onto you and you can't breathe type thing. That means that when you're down, I'm going to see past if you snapped at me that day. And I'll be like, you know what, maybe you did have a bad day. I'm going to bring it up to you, but not in a way of, you know, in a bad way. I'm going to understand that, hey, maybe there was something else coming because that's not his normal character. So let me just give him the benefit of the doubt. And later on, let's see if we can open it up, you know, because, and hey, maybe there's something he doesn't want to talk about. Maybe there is something he's going through. I've learned to love unconditionally. Like if I love you, it doesn't mean, it's not with condition. Like, I love you until you do this, you know, then after that, I'm done. You know, it's you, to me, you can't do that, because if you have all these conditions, and I'm not talking about like bad things like, you know, abuse and red flags like that. I mean, like if you're not on point and perfect every single day, well, I love you until you lose your job. Once you lose your job, dude, I'm out. No, I'm going to hold you down. If we're in a relationship, I'm going to take on the bills until we can get back on. I'm going to put, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not going to be like, just because of a certain condition that happens, that's it. I'm out of the picture, you know, and that takes understanding. And a lot of people are like, yeah, well, you're going to get walked on by that if you do that a lot. And
Understanding does, please hear me.
yeah,
Understanding does not mean that you are weak.
right.
Understanding means that I see what you're going through,
Yes.
and I understand
Yep.
what you're going through because I've been there.
Yep.
So I'm going to practice a bit more grace and patience with you. Now,
Yes.
I'm not stupid.
Exactly.
I see what's going on, but
Exactly.
I'm giving you what I would want somebody to give me. Like right now,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, you guys hear me, but you guys don't know that my grandmother just passed away this past week. You guys don't know that I'm talking to you with a broken heart.
Yeah.
You guys don't know. So you never know.
Right.
Even with me, I'm what you would call, the secular world would call an empath.
Yeah.
What the church world would call someone who has discernment.
Yeah.
I just have a gift. I can see energy. I can read a person like you read Facebook.
Yeah.
But I had to learn with that gift, even though I can see things, it's personal development and spiritual maturity to know you don't have to say everything you see.
Right.
And sometimes people are going through things and it affects them differently,
Yeah,
you know? So we're talking about, what do I expect from love? I'm expecting from love what I would want someone to give me.
Yes.
You know, so I'm not, you know, patience, kindness, being considerate. And even if it doesn't work out, that doesn't mean that just because you may not be the fit for me, or I may not be your cup of tea. It may just mean somebody else will appreciate your flavor. Somebody else appreciates my flavor.
Exactly. And Ian is got up there, you know, condolences to you. And I know before we had this show, that was one of the first things I asked you. I was like, because you're my friend, I care about you first. And I was like, hey, if you don't want to do the show, no problem. You know, how are you? More than, hey, we got a show. Are you, you know what I mean? Because that would be just cruel. That would be cruel. That'd be cruel to just be like, hey, are you going to still be on the show? Because then that would be very insensitive, and that'd be very selfish. But I appreciate you being on here, especially in light of everything that you are dealing with. Vincent is up here saying part 2. He wants a part 2.
Oh, definitely, because I want to go into more of, and I think it's very important that we understand the difference between a predator and a hunter.
Yeah.
And a predator and a hunter is not just men, but there are predators and hunters in women.
Oh,
And
yes.
if you don't know the difference,
Yes.
and the problem is that because we look alike and you can't tell the difference because you're making decisions out of your emotions, you'll
Mhm.
treat a hunter like a predator.
Yep.
And that's when that good man
Right.
suffers because of what a bad man did, or
Right.
a good woman suffers
Yes.
because of what a bad, and a lot of times it's not just the bad woman or the bad man, it's bad choices that you made.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, guys, this is Jairrod A. Burch. I'm telling you, this brother is deep. And y'all, here is his website, valueonpurpose.com. And on IG, it's Jairrod A. Speaks. And I know we got to wind down because it's right at the 1 hour mark. But anything else you want to say about anything you got going on quick?
Just letting everybody know I have an apology tour coming up, and it's going to be nationwide.
Okay.
Jairrod, what do you mean by an apology tour? I'm just going to give you just a little bit of it. I feel it's important that we all, especially me, start apologizing.
Yeah, that's good.
What do you mean, Jairrod? I mean that it's now time in 2021 to start saying, I'm sorry to yourself.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm tired of sleeping on myself.
There you
I apologize for playing myself, for playing second fiddle when I knew I was the best. I'm
There you
sorry that I stuck in the background for people that I knew I should have been in the lead role of. But because of the way that I was in, the condition that I let myself in, and I let myself be, I took a lot of back seats and I took a lot of L's when I should have been taking W's. So I'm sorry to myself. Look, I can't give you no more. I can't give you no more. But what I'm saying,
already 2 minutes over.
what-
Aaron's gonna
what-
have a fit on the network, but that's good.
what I'm saying is it's going to be an apology tour. I'm getting ready for it now. I'm gearing up for it. It's nationwide. Jairrod A. Burch, Mr. Value himself. You know you need me to come and speak for your organization. You might as well get in touch with me.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jairrod. This has been incredible. And thank you, everybody. Share this, guys. Share this with everyone. Have a great night, all.